down.
We are amazing because our passion is limitless and our drive is intense. Therefore, you will not deny our grind. You are now listening to the Faith, Grind, and Inspire podcast.
Welcome back to another great episode of Faith, Grind, Inspire podcast. I am your host, Gina Lurk.
Co-host Colbert the Alchemist.
Yes, yes. And today we have a very special guest, the legend, the man. You ready?
Jude Bernard.
That's right. That's right.
No, I'm sorry. Jude Jean-Paul Bernard.
Yes, yes. You got a couple comments, so you know.
Exactly.
You got to get it right.
Exactly.
So, man, listen, the show is all about the mindset of entrepreneurs, right? And you're a legend in the game, right? And so I'm just happy that you're here, right? And you're here blessing us, right? This guy owns businesses. He owns tons of real estate, sold tons of real estate. He's inspired so many, giving back to God knows how many. He like 2 months ago, or like a month ago, he just had a huge event, and we're gonna talk about that. And tell the people who you are.
Wow. I don't know if I could live up to what you just said, because you just gassed him up real heavy. Bottom line, I'm a kid from Flatbush, Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? I am a Haitian first generation here in the States. You know, typical story. Dad drove a cab. Mom was a housekeeper in a hotel. And that's pretty much it. That's where I start. I've been, for the last 22, 23 years, I've been in the real estate game. I've been an entrepreneur. I've started a nonprofit. I've been involved in so many different businesses. So that's kind of like a loaded question. Who is Jude Bernard, you know? And at the end of the day, Jude Bernard is just a guy that's trying, you know, to move forward.
Okay. All right. So let's break down the upbringing, right? And because you come from a Haitian family, Flatbush. You said Flatbush, Haitian, and that's the 70s or 80s.
70s babies, but you know,
grew up in the 80s.
Grew up in the 80s.
Flatbush.
Exactly.
That was a whole different time. Man.
Exactly.
Little Haiti right there.
Pre-Starbucks.
Oh, pre-Starbucks. Oh, wait. Starbucks. So, tell me, how was it growing up? Because I tell people the stories. I tell my wife and she doesn't believe me. But tell me how it was being Haitian in the 80s in Brooklyn.
All right. So not only am I from Flatbush, Brooklyn, Haitian, pre-Starbucks, but I'm also pre-Fugees. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Before Wyclef.
Before Wyclef came out and made it cool, you know, it wasn't Jude Jean-Paul, it was Jude JP. You know, just trying to assimilate, trying to be as cool. You know what I'm saying? Now my people's is French. You know, because you had all those stupid things, HBO, and remember that? Remember HBO?
Oh my God, yes.
And all those silly stereotypes of we can't dress and we were not cool. You know, the AIDS thing that they try to put on us and stuff like that. So it really wasn't cool to be Haitian until the Fugees came out. You know, that paved the way to show that we were like a dominant force in all aspects of this culture. So,
yes, man. No, go ahead.
Oh, so growing up, it was very low key, very strict Haitian parents. À l'école, you know what I'm saying, go to school.
Yeah.
You know, go to school. I think the Haitian they had the 3 L's. L'église, l'école, la caille. That's it. Right? Which means school, home, and church. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
So that's pretty much how I was raised. And you know, of course, there was a little bit of rebellion there, but
yeah,
typical.
of course,
Typical.
Yeah.
You know what I want? What was the first? This is totally off for like this, but what was the first rap album you brought home?
I think the first rap album that I actually purchased,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna feel like such a sellout for this.
It's all good.
Beastie Boys' "License to Ill."
Where?
You know,
Okay.
I feel like I feel like a sellout for that. But if the first CD that I ever bought, well, either the first or the second was Notorious B.I.G. "Ready to Die," or I think I bought them at the same time. It was, and Das Effects, "Dead Serious." You know what I'm saying? Brooklyn.
Yeah, bro. You want to know mine?
What's that?
My first tape, right? Because those CDs were given out.
Right.
My dad let me go to the store. I went to Flatbush and went to this. It was I think it was called K's or something, and on Forster and Flatbush.
I remember that by the little triangle.
Yeah, by the little triangle. So I live down the block.
All right.
On 21st, and so.
Oh, Little Vietnam.
Yes, yes, Vietnam in the middle of the war zone. That's where I was, bro. So, because I went to Our Lady of Refuge.
I went to Our Lady of Refuge.
You did?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, I lived right across the street.
Sister Irene.
Oh my God, she used to beat us.
Exactly.
But
Wow.
yes, man, for real, bro.
Those are the times. when
Ocean
it
and
was
Forster.
okay.
Ocean and Forster, man. So
go ahead, I'm sorry.
So my father let me go, and I was supposed to get GI Joes, but instead I went right next door, and there was a music store, and I went and copped my first album. It was NWA.
Whoosh.
Man,
Wow.
I brought that home. I played one song.
F the police.
And that was
Yo. Then I said, skip. So I went to the next song.
Skip.
Skip. Went to the next song. Skip. Yo, I was so scared that my parents would hear the music I was listening to. I hid the tape under my bed. And my cousin Sandy came from Boston one time. And I don't know how she found it. She found the tape and she was like, I'm telling you, man.
Oh man.
And I took it, I threw it out the window.
But you
That
know,
was my first album, man.
but you know the funny thing about growing up, like I don't know how long your parents were here at the time. Like my mom, you know, like her English was not the best at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So the lyrics could play. It's just the F bombs
Yeah.
that would throw, the content I could probably get away with,
Yeah.
but it's because the flow, she's not
She
picking
not-
picking it up that quick. But them F bombs,
Oh, no,
she's
they
not
were
making-
clear.
Yeah, clear. They enunciated it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I thought, even though I had headphones on, it was echoing throughout. I felt like it was echoing throughout the house and my parents were hearing it.
That's
What
not
was yours,
comfortable.
Kobe?
It's not comfortable to listen to music like that. It was probably Junior Mafia. Junior Mafia was a tape that I took from my cousin that I played, but you had the Walkman on, you had to put it on your ears and you just had to let it rock, man. So yeah, it was just Junior Mafia, but yeah, they're not fans of hip hop, especially the F bombs growing up. But speaking of just growing up Haitians, with that strict, because there's a difference growing up with that strict, upbringing. Speak about it now that you're at this age. How has that helped you as far as molding you, having that now that you look back at it, obviously they wanted to do it to protect us, obviously from danger, but speak about how that has helped you.
Oh, it really has shaped me. A lot of the things that like my dad did that made no sense at all. It all comes full circle now, and
Right.
and it's instilled inside of me. I remember there was an incident like when I was about 18 or 19 years old. I had purchased a car. It was like an 87 Integra. I had rims on it. It was dope. And those cars, they had just came. The Integras just came out. The Acuras just came.
Those are fire.
Oh,
yeah.
I always wanted one of those.
Yeah, but the transmission was bad on those things. So it was like $2,000 to fix the tranny on it. So I was just like, nah, I gotta get rid of this. So I had put it out, and they used to have these car buyers magazines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I put it out, put an ad out, and somebody came and saw it. And what I did was I put transmission fluid in it right before they came. So when they test drove it, it was nice, right? It was nice. So dude bought the car.
Yeah.
Another kid just bought the car, went on his way. Cool. Like 2 days later, I get a call. Yo, you sold me a lemon, right? So I'm just like, yo, whatever, dude. Click, right? So they keep getting called, and they send me a what do you call it? A notice to go to court, like they're suing me. So I'm just like, yo, what the hell is this?
Right.
So now I got to get my parents involved because this is like, beyond my pay scale. I'm like, look, I don't know what to do, this, that, the other. So we go to court, and I present, they present, and the judge sides in my favor. And it was basically, New York State law. If I'm not a car dealer, it's buyer beware teas and stuff like that. So I was just like, yeah, I win. So I was with my dad, and I won. And my dad turns around and writes them a check for like $2,000, right? And just hits them off. And I was just like, yo, we won. What the hell did you just do? And he was just like, yo, you knew it was bad when you sold it to them, right? I was like, but we won. You know what I'm saying? The judge said we ain't got to give them nothing. And he was just like, no, because one, it's not the right thing to do. Two, it does not make, that little thing is not the right karma to put in the universe. And three, you don't know how these people will react. So at that time, I was just like, yo, you lame, But in hindsight, that's one of the best lessons that I ever got from my dad. It's like, just because it's legal doesn't make it right, And that's kind of like, that is along the lines of what you learn. You learn in a Haitian household, sometimes you're not gonna get it right then and there on the spot. It might take years, decades, or whatever, or maybe when you have kids, and then you're just like reflecting. You're just like, yo, these crazy Haitians, they not so crazy.
Absolutely.
They had their reasons. So a lot of that stuff, I took. A lot of stuff I didn't take. But whether I took it or not at the time, I can reflect back on it right now, and I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They always say that you can't teach people before they're ready to learn. And like our parents, they try to beat us, they try to, they punish us, this, that, the other, trying to force stuff into us.
Right.
But sometimes we're just not ready.
Exactly.
I got another quick tidbit that comes to mind. I was in the park one time, and this young boy, about 16, 17 years old, shooting around, and there was this dude, old dude. He was probably in his 40s, right? Old timer, right? And I was shooting around, and he was just like, yo, I could tell you what to do for the next 10 years, and you'll never have to work a day in your life again, right? He was talking about real estate. He was talking about stocks, investing, and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I ain't paying no mind. But in hindsight, when I flashed back, I was just like, wow, this dude put the blueprint out there. Right? And I think back, I have a younger sister, and one time I tried to instill the same things that he told me that I didn't listen to. I tried to tell her, and she was just like, she kind of blew me off. Right? She's like, yeah, whatever, and it basically comes down to, the blueprint is there, but you have to be able to receive it. You have to be ready.
You gotta be ready for it. Yeah.
Exactly.
You gotta be ready.
So not everybody's ready for it at all.
So talking about advice, man, like some you take, some you don't. What is? Tell me a story about like not taking advice from your mom.
Oh, yo. So,
sorry.
I love my parents. You know,
Yeah.
I love my mom. I love my dad. But you have to know who do you go to advice for and what advice that you take from them. All right. So I can recall, like when I first got into real estate, I had purchased a couple of buildings in Queens, in Southside Jamaica, and I had liquidated them, and I was looking to do something a little bigger on a grander scale, and I started to look downtown Brooklyn, and you know, my mom was just like, "You want to go to downtown Brooklyn? Oh, they do drugs down there and this, that, the other. You need to go to you need to invest in Queens. You need to invest in Canarsie, like, you know, those neighborhoods where there's families and stuff like that." And I listened to her and I was like, not so much, you know. And in hindsight, in retrospect, I look back, you know, all the neighborhoods that she told me to invest in, you know, they did show did show growth.
Absolutely.
But the neighborhood that I chose to invest in, which were Clinton Hills, Bed-Stuy,
Right.
Fort Greene, the rate of return and growth is astronomical.
Way better, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because I was looking from a different lens as, you know, what she was looking at. You know, all she saw was grass.
Grass and safety.
Grass is safe. Grass is
Right.
good.
Yes.
You know, like people, these brownstones and these corner stores and stuff like that. You don't want no parts of that. And it you know, in regards to real estate, it's all about how close you are to the city, the amenities, and all that other stuff, which is why that area skyrocketed.
Right.
So when you say, whether it's my mom or whether it's anybody else who's giving me advice, one of the key things that I always look at when I'm taking advice is, have you done it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to. I could take. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you're the janitor or the CEO. You know what I'm saying? But whatever advice that you're trying to give to me, have you lived it? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm holding you to. I want to make sure you've lived it. That you're talking from experience, because a lot of people, they'd like to give you advice. You know what I'm saying? They like to say, "Hey, this is what you should do.
Yeah.
This is what you need to do.
Right.
What you need to do is," and I'm like, "Yo, have you done it?
Right.
You know,
True.
you know, have you done it?
Yeah.
You know, like I'm in a position in my in my business where I some of the decisions that I make are based on like will cost me millions of dollars, right? And I typically, you know, I could take advice from people in regards to how to move, in regards to like theoretical stuff, but I'm not going to take advice from someone on analytical stuff if they haven't practiced it.
That's true.
You know, I have one of my best friends. You know, he is he works for sanitation department. You know, smart dude, and I go back to him a lot. You know, that's my boy from high school, and you probably saying, what can a real estate guy who's making millions of dollars on deals get advice from a guy who works sanitation?
I see where you
Yeah, no, but it's like,
but from
from an outsider,
From an outsider.
from a non-thinking
a non-thinking person.
yeah, it's just like, what do these two guys have in
Right.
common? You know, I remember one time there was a I was doing a deal with someone, and they did something to me, and it cost me like $5,000 that they did something, and I was mad, I was tight, and I had the opportunity to do, you know, to be vindictive and do something back to them that would cost them like $80,000, right? So I got on the phone with my boy, and I'm just like, yo, blah blah blah. I'm heated now, and I'm spitting. I'm just like, yo, this is what I'm gonna do. This, that, blah blah blah. This, that. I'm gonna do this, that, the other. And he was able to say, yo, Jude, it's not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? $5,000 is an inconvenience. $80,000, it can be a life-changing event. You know, like you can't, you know, Like if somebody pricks you in the finger, it's not a payback to stab them in the heart.
Yeah.
You know, so you just have to be mindful. So that's the advice that he gave to me at the time. And in hindsight, I was just like, wow, I was wilding. You know what I'm saying? I was ready to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that deep. And funny enough, that had I taken it there would be no going back to that relationship. And although I ended up losing that $5,000 from that guy that day, we were able to maintain a relationship where in time I was able to do other transactions, and I made that back, as opposed to flying off the handle and stuff like that. So, you know, you just got to be mindful of who you take your advice from.
I'm a family man, entrepreneur, investment property specialist. I am your Brooklyn, Long Island agent who understands the importance of building a strong future for your legacy. Allow me to guide you through your next real estate experience. It's finally time to buy a house and make it your home. First, you'll need a trusted advisor to guide you through the process. In Gene Alert and the Sabre team, you'll find just that with confidence, focus, and tact.
When it's time to list your home, you want to ensure you choose the most resourceful, unwavering team to represent your interests.
Our mission is to help everyone find their place in the world.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it is powerful.
I actually have a question about that, because people don't realize how important it is to maintain relationships, and you have to be able to have a certain level of thick skin, especially when, you know, something goes wrong. People are quick to burn bridges, but like you said, you had somebody that brought you back to ground level, said, you know, keep your head on straight. How do you practice that bringing yourself back when you're going through those moments where a deal may go south or someone may, you know, do something wrong to you? How do you bring yourself back to being grounded so that you can make a clear level decision?
Woosah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't taking it back to Martin Lawrence.
That's
You gotta. It's all about calming yourself down and thinking about the greater good, right? Like people will do things. Events will happen. Situations will go awry. But it's like you can't control people's actions, but you can control your reaction, right? So how you deal with something that somebody did is a testament about you. It's not about them. It's about you.
Powerful.
You know, like in business, you know what's the most annoying thing in the world? Super annoying. I'm sure this has happened to everybody in this room. When somebody owes you money, and then you see them on vacation.
Oh my God!
Right? and you see them on vacation. You see them spending money. And and here's a new thing that pisses me off. Here's a new thing that really annoys me. Like if you ever go on Venmo, and you see them paying other people, like you know what I'm saying? You see them for Knicks tickets.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just like, you know, sometimes I want to be like, yo, like I want to comment on that and be like, yo, how about you handle me? Right? Or but then but sometimes it's just like you got to be conscious of the greater good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to react to every little thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like we're playing chess, not checkers.
Mm.
You know,
That's
like
a fact.
if you were to react to every stimuli that was presented towards you, you'd never be able to move forward. You know what I'm saying? Like at some point, it's human nature. At some point, everyone will do something that crosses the line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's how do you react from it? How do you continue normalcy? You know, you just can't.
Right.
You can't let it overwhelm you, and you can't let it paralyze you, and you can't see red. You know what I'm saying? You always got to see green. You always got, whether the green is the green pastures of peace, whether the green is cash, you know, whether green is go, you know, it always has to be green. You know what I'm saying? Like red, you can't see red. Red is bad.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Typically, red is bad.
Yeah.
So that's how I stop myself. Because it's just like you don't want to burn any bridges.
That's a fact. Yeah.
You know,
it's so true.
you know, because they say the same people that you see going up are the same ones you see going down, and sometimes the same people that you see going up will be the same people that's going up with you.
Right.
So
That's a fact.
So you can't make those. You can't let little things. And at the end of the day, one of the things that I constantly ask myself whenever I'm in a situation, and I'm hot, and I'm about to get hot and possibly make a bad decision, is I question: will this matter a year from now? Will this matter 5 years from now? Will this matter 10 years from now? And very few things will matter 10 years from now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, funny enough, like making $1 million today or losing $1 million today really won't matter, 10 years from now. You know? And so it's just that once you can see life, at the long game, a lot of little things, you just dust it right off your shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah. That's deep, man. So let's rewind it back a little, right?
Take it back.
How did you get started in the whole real estate thing? You said the guy came up to you, he was 40 years old, he was giving you the blueprint, but you shunned him off like, whatever. But how did you get started in real estate?
All right. Let's take it back. Let's take it way back.
All right, let's take it way back.
I always had this like a thing for nice things.
Okay.
I always, needed the hot wear, needed nice sneakers and stuff like that. Stuff that.
Did you get it from your mom or your dad?
Neither.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I always had hustle in me.
No, what I'm saying is, was your mom the one that liked nice stuff in the family, or your dad? Or they were just like,
Nah.
Oh, okay.
And I think it goes back to some of the stuff that we were talking to before about growing up Haitian in America and Flatbush and stuff like that, where you just wanted to fit in and assimilate and be cool and stuff like that. So it was kind of important for me, it was part of my DNA at the time to shine. Like I wanted to shine. I wanted a nice car. I wanted stuff like that. And like since I was very young, I've always had the ability to see holes in the system. See opportunities to make money, even when the average person did not see it.
Right.
Like my whole real estate portfolio. 90% of the properties that I own were all properties that people did not see value in them, and I jumped in and made something happen. So even as a kid, not always on the right side of the law, but I always found a way to stay fly.
Right.
And from my late teenage years to my very early 20s, it was pretty much one hustle after another.
Right.
I was up in Albany, and I ended up doing some dumb stuff, and I ended up getting locked up.
Okay.
All right, so I got locked up. Something silly,
Right.
Some silly credit card scam. Just trying,
Right.
the stupid things that you do as a kid. So I got locked up on a Friday afternoon. So you know what that means.
You're there for the whole weekend.
Exactly. So I'm there Friday, I'm there Saturday, I'm there Sunday, right? And guess what Monday is? President's Day.
Oh.
No.
Right? So now I'm there on Monday. And guess what Tuesday is? In the middle of winter, upstate New York. Snowstorm.
Oh.
Right? So what should have been a quick in and out ended up me spending a week in Albany County. Now, in the early 90s, the thing was there were a lot of dudes that left New York that went upstate to hustle. So the Albany County dudes weren't too partial to New Yorkers, right? So I found myself pretty much 7 days of beef that I had no parts of.
Wow.
Right? So after that whole fiasco, that's kind of like when I was just like, yo, I need to get my life together because I'm not about this life. Like some people are built for that lifestyle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Some people are about it like that, I'm not.
Right.
And you got to look at yourself, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and assess who you are, There are dudes. Everybody talks that tough talk. Oh, I'm gonna go to jail and do crazy, this, that, the other. Nah, that wasn't for me. So, but I still had that gift of seeing holes, whether the hole was in real estate, whether the hole was in small businesses, whether the hole was providing a service or an item that was not readily available to most people, So in regards to that, that's how I got involved in real estate. Seeing that, hey, I can take a little bit of money, get put my paperwork together and have a bank give me a whole lot of money, and then I'll have an asset now that pays me for doing, I won't say doing nothing, but not doing as much as I typically would have to. So, and then I could multiply that over and over and
keep leveraging
and keep leveraging it and keep multiplying it and keep moving forward. So I got my first property I closed on that October 31st, 1997. All right. And I was still living at my mama's house. I had the first two properties that I owned. I was still living at my mother's house, and I was working at Verizon, and I was living good. I had very nice cars, very nice clothes, like a lot of income.
Right.
Because think about it, I had a nice check coming in, and I had 2 rental properties.
Right.
Nice.
And what was it? And I was just chipping in around the house, And it's so funny. Around that time, that's when TLC had that song called Scrubs. And then Lauryn Hill also had that song at the very same time. That was That Thing. About the dude living in the mom's basement.
Yes.
So that's when I was like, all right, I gotta get out of here. Oh, because they got 2 songs out at the same time about me.
About me.
I was like, all right, I gotta go.
That's funny, man.
So that's when I ended up getting another house that me and my boys, we just kind of all lived together, and we had this frat house at the time. So it was cool.
Man. So I know in the beginning when you first start, did you have any mentors in the real estate business, or was there any mistakes that happened in the beginning, or things that happened? You know what I'm saying?
Yo, I literally have made every mistake in the world. Right? like I have not, and one of the biggest mistakes that I've made is never to have a mentor, and what happened was at the time there was no one doing it at the capacity that I was doing it. So I was trying to figure it out at the time. So I didn't know anything about contractors. I didn't know how to deal with tenants. I didn't know all the little things, all the little nuances that you have to know about keeping your word, about when you're going to fix something, about making sure your paperwork is right, making sure that the building is properly maintained, making sure that you are doing things so that you probably could appreciate how to find deals, X, Y, and Z. All of those were trial and error, and I basically made I've made millions of dollars in mistakes. But the beauty behind making mistakes is that you learn from them.
Absolutely.
They say that a fool is someone who doesn't learn from his mistakes. The average man is someone who learns from his mistakes, and a wise man is the man who learns from other people's mistakes.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
That's true.
I consider myself to be the average man, and now, although I haven't had any specific form of mentorship, I found wisdom in reading books. Just to learn from other people's wisdom and mistakes, so I don't have to make all of them. So that's one thing that I would strongly suggest for anybody out there who is getting into the real estate game or any other game. Find some mentors, whether they're true or virtual. Whether you're reading books, whether you're following somebody on a podcast, whether you're following somebody on social media, but find someone who's doing what you're doing and watch their movements.
Yeah.
Like I went from being a Jay-Z fan to a student of Jay-Z. I've met him on a couple of occasions, just, hey, what's up? Give him a pound or something like that. Not my man or nothing like that. But I've watched him go from
Jay-Z to Sean Carter.
Jay-Z.
That's Dot. All that.
Jay-Z, the guy who was hustling, to Jay-Z the rapper, to Jay-Z the businessman, to Jay-Z the mogul. And it's funny. This morning I put a post up because I'm going to be on a panel with Les Brown in April 29th, and I had put a post announcing that. And one of the things that I said in my post was a Jay-Z quote. I was like, if somebody would have told him that Hov will sell clothing, not in this lifetime, wasn't in my right mind. But that's the difference between me and them. I smartened up. So you constantly need your role models, and you need to learn from them. And you know what? You need to pay attention at your role models and your mentors, not only of the things that they've done right, but learn from the things that they've made mistakes doing. Because we, sometimes we get so wide-eyed. It's just like the people that we look up to, they become infallible. Nah, everybody's a man just like me. So some of the mistakes that he's made in the past, I don't want to make them.
Yeah, I think that's in the world age that we live in, especially the social media age. People always showing all the highlights, and they don't really show the losses. And I think it's so important for people to, especially when you're a mentor, is to really show people like it's not all sweet. Yes, once you got it, once you're the Jay-Z, but you gotta show the dark side. And there's just so much information out there now.
Misinformation.
And there's misinformation too.
There's
There's a lot of information. That's why it's so important to have the mentor that can steer you in the right direction. Because we have we're in the age of the internet. Because back then we probably didn't have much resources on the internet for you to go through or look at YouTube so that you could go off. But it's so important to have that mentor. Like Gene was one of my mentors. Going straight into college, and he was able to show me the way. So, and I was able to avoid a lot of mistakes. And I tell everybody, like, it's so important to have those mentors, and it's and reading and all those type of things are so vital. So that's I mean, just you giving that information is going to let people understand that you just can't do it by yourself.
No, and you're constantly learning, and you have to. One of the things that I've learned is like the mistakes that you make are just preparing you for the next level.
Lessons learned.
Exactly, because you know, the mistakes that I made when I was $100,000 in, I didn't have to make them when I was $1 million in.
Exactly.
And the mistakes that I made when I was $1 million in, I didn't have to make them when I was $10 million in. You know, and hopefully the mistakes that I'm making now are going to prevent me from making those mistakes when I'm 100 million in.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So was there a time where, you know, because there's ups and downs, the market was down, it goes up. Was there any time where you lost anything, like, or you know what I'm saying, like?
As I said before, I have made every mistake in the book. If you take a look at this right here, I'm showing you guys a tattoo that I have. It says "Never Again," 12/13/04.
Yeah.
Never again, 12/13/04. I used to be a gambler.
Okay. Yes.
Heavy. You know.
What was your game of choice?
CeeLo.
Okay.
Blackjack. How long it would take a roach to get from one side of the room to the other if you wanted to bet on it. Literally, like we've done it.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember one day literally like we were watching a roach and then we said, how long do you think it's gonna take the roach to get, you know, from this side of the room to that side of the room? And you know, like four of us, we each put like $100 down and we clocked them and stuff like that.
What?
But that's how degenerate gambler I was. And those first two properties that I purchased in Queens, I ended up having to liquidate them to cover gambling debts. You know, because and in hindsight, you know, sometimes you look within yourself, like it's like, why was I gambling, right? And I realized it's my love of winning that was so great. I just love winning. I just love winning. You're
addicted to winning.
I'm addicted to winning any way, shape, or form. Even if I won, I was right. The roach took 30 seconds to get there. Yay! The life. It's all about, you know what I'm saying.
Right.
I used to get hype off of that. But you have to learn to keep that in check because like I've literally, you know, I remember my first loss. My first major loss, I had brought my net worth up to like $1.5 million, and between gambling debts and making bad investments that I was just betting. It was gambling.
Yeah.
You know, between gambling debts and the .com boom. You remember that in the early 2000s?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like as long as it just had a .com on it, all you have to do is put money in and you're gonna win. You know, you didn't have to research it, this, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. And when that came crashing down, I lost it all. So, I started at zero, got myself up to about $1.5 million. And then I lost it all between, bad decisions and gambling, you know. So I ended up starting from scratch again. But that's one of the best things about knowledge is like once you know how the game is played, you know, you could always make it back. You know, so I had gotten myself like around 2005, 2006, I had gotten myself back up to a net worth of about maybe $3 million, and I was comfortable again. I was comfortable, but I still had not gained knowledge of self or wisdom as of yet. So I was still spending. You know, I still had the big car.
Right.
You know, I had the big house with the big pool in Jersey. You know, I had the Rolex, and you know, I had sneakers that I've never worn. You know, just lined up in the closet and stuff like that. I used to have parties at my house couple times a week. And when I didn't have parties at my house, we were at the club, like throwing money away. So, and then 2007, 2008, 2009 came, shut all of that down. Right. Down, everything gone. You know, so I prior to that, I had brought myself up to about $3 million, and $3 million, you hood rich. You know, in retrospect now, it's just like that's nothing.
Right.
You know, that's not that's not even enough to retire off of.
Right.
But like you couldn't tell me I wasn't balling at the time. All right. So after the market crashed, the real estate and the stock markets crashed, I went from a net worth of $3 million to, I'd say, negative $1 million.
Wow.
You know, negative. You know, I had about 10 properties in foreclosure. You know, like life was just bad. Yeah. You know, it's probably the darkest period that I've ever had to withstand. But as I said before, everything prepares you for where you are right now. You know, I had a little bit of foresight to get into other things, because even though real estate was doing bad and the stock market was doing bad at the time, I found myself going to India.
Going to India.
And
let me find out. Here?
Exactly.
I was just guessing.
And getting a connect.
What?
And I started importing hair. You know, like straight from the temples.
Jude got into the Remy business.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's
I got into the Remy business.
Big.
And real estate was so low. What I started doing was I was renting a place, a loft, and I started throwing events in that loft. So these are all different things, different avenues that I just started, you know, investing in and diversifying what I did. Again, back to the whole thing of finding holes in the system, because even though this was the worst economic situation in the history of my lifetime,
right?
You know, since the Great Depression.
Yeah, you weren't here for that, but yeah.
Yeah, girls are still gonna do their hair.
Absolutely.
No matter what.
That's crazy.
That's a fact.
You know, people are jumping off the buildings because they can't cover their mortgages, but girls are gonna do their hair. You know. Second thing that I learned was with the event spaces, people are still gonna have that birthday party, no matter what. You're gonna have that birthday party. You're gonna have that celebration. They're gonna have that. You know, like whether they have to scrape it up.
They're gonna make that happen.
Exactly. The baby might not have a 529 plan or something, but he's gonna have that baby shower. So what I was able to do is I was able to capitalize on that for a few years and you know, put some money aside for when the day came for me to reemerge back into real estate.
Wow. Man, so what mindset did you have when, you know, going from that high to that low, negative $1 million? Like, what mindset helped you? Was there people around you that helped you, you know, or what did you do, you know? Because I know someone who loses $100, man, and their whole week is shot, you know?
No. I will not lose.
I will not lose.
You know, if you follow me, you know that's my mantra.
Yeah.
You know that's my emoji. That's who I am. It's just like at the end of the day, I still have that love and that passion for winning. Can't do this because my credit is bad. I'm like, yo, your credit is bad today.
Right.
You know, it's like it's not a life sentence. You know, it changes. You know, like you could work towards fixing it.
Right.
And that's what I did towards my business. It's like I worked towards fixing it. You know, when things were bad, I didn't start crying about it. Actually, I did cry about it. I cried about it a lot. But when I would wipe the tears out my eye and get back to
and see green
and keep moving forward.
Right.
You know, around that time, I had so many different hustles. You know, I had the hair, I had the event space. There wasn't even Airbnb out at that time, but I was Airbnb in my house. You know, it was called vacationrentals.com or whatever. What else? Like I was like from the hair hustle, I found out about Alibaba, and I was importing stuff and selling stuff. Hold on, I gotta tell you this. I found someone who had a container of toilet paper. I didn't ask him where he got a container. Like a literal container, like somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody.
Like a bulk container, like a ship.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. I bought a container of toilet paper, and found a way to buy that and sell that to somebody in Ecuador. It's just like hustle. Like when there's an opportunity, like I was literally buying these rolls of toilet paper for like less than 10 cents each, and I knew that somebody was gonna retail them for about $1 each, right? So I was, it took me like a week to make phone calls here and there, back and forth, this, that, the other. I ended up selling them for about 30 cents each.
30 cents. That was the number I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I sold and I ended up making, a few $1,000s doing that.
Yeah.
When things were bad. And the thing is, I remember like I had taken a cash advance off my credit card, and by the time the transaction was all said and done, I didn't even come out of my pocket because by the time I had to pay the bill back, I had already made the money. So what did it really cost me? Nothing except hustle. You know what I'm saying? Like hustle, seeing the hole and diving for it, going for it.
So what you think the most important part of business is?
The most important part of business is character.
Character.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, everything will present itself to you.
Okay.
But you, first of all, one of the things that I'm very proud of is that I could be as vocal as possible, and I never have to worry about somebody coming and saying, "Oh, he's a liar," or "He stole this from me," or like the peanut gallery, right?
Yeah, that's the reputation.
Yeah.
Exactly, your reputation.
Your name is everything. Yeah.
But like I've been in the game for a quarter of a century, and I'm proud to say that I've never done anybody dirty. I've never stolen any money. I've never lost anybody any money. I can't say that every deal that I've done has turned out the way that it was supposed to.
Right.
But one thing about my personality is I'll take the L before I let you take the L. I'll say, "Hey, Gene, I need you to I need you to invest $100,000 in this building, right? I invest, he cuts me a check, writes it up. Next thing you know, the Department of Buildings comes and they shut down the job for a year. Next thing you know, they have squatters that I can't get rid of. Next thing you know, my guys walk off the job, or next thing you know, I didn't anticipate that the foundation of the building is bad, and I had to dump extra money back into that, right? So what do I go back and say, Gene? Do I say, "Hey, Gene, I'm sorry, but I didn't do my due diligence, and you gotta take the L," or do I come back and I just front? "Hey, Gene, here's your 100 plus the interest that I told you about, and it's all good," and just eat that myself, and knowing that my reputation is still good with him, and that I could go back to him another time.
Right, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I choose option 2, option B, option 2, whatever, all the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy.
And that goes back from the lesson that you learned from your dad.
Exactly.
At the courtroom.
Exactly. It is easy to do what's not right, right? But it's harder to do the right thing. But the benefits of doing the right thing last a whole lot longer.
Oof.
You know what I'm saying?
Say it again, man. Say it again.
Doing the wrong thing is easy. Doing the right thing is hard. But the benefits of doing the right thing last a whole lot longer.
Absolutely.
A simple thing is holding the door for somebody. Holding the door for somebody will change the change the attitude that people will have for you. You know,
That's true.
Like your producer. I saw your producer in the hallway. I didn't even know who she was, but I smiled at her. I introduced myself, and we had a nice conversation. Think about if I didn't say anything to her when I saw her and just didn't give her the courtesy, she'd be here giving me the side eye right now. you know?
She edits you out.
She'd edit me out. Then because
I lost the footage.
Exactly.
Oh man, no, but it's true. Reputation is important, man. Like
Character, reputation.
People don't understand. I think that's like the biggest part because that's all you have. I tell people all the time. All you have is you and your word.
Exactly.
And how people see you.
Especially
People are
as an
talking about
entrepreneur.
branding and brand. I want to build brand. Brand is reputation. It's you.
Yeah.
Yo, truth be told, I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't my reputation because prior to us even meeting, he had already heard of me. I had already heard of him.
Yeah.
And it was just a matter of time.
That's a fact.
That's it.
You know, and when we were introduced, there was a level of respect that was already there. You know, like my reputation
that's a fact.
preceded me. You know, your reputation walks into the room way before you do.
Way before you do.
Exactly.
You know, so that's what I think is the most important thing in business is.
And it's interesting, like, we know so many mutual people, right? And once you start telling people, yeah, I met with Jude and I interviewed Jude today and had the conversation, people go like, oh yeah, I know Jude. And you're like, yo, but how can you say that? You know? And I remember when Facebook first came out and you met somebody, first thing you did was you on Facebook and then you see all the mutual friends and then they go through. I mean, people, I don't know if people still do it, but I remember that's what we used to do, like in 2009, like, who's your mutual friends?
Right.
And then you be like, yo, you know this person? Yo, that's my cousin.
And like,
but God forbid you had like someone had beef with the person on your mutual list.
Oh man, that's your whole reputation get tore up just like that.
Man. But it's good, man. Jen Cadet, that was my publicist.
okay.
And she called me one day. She was like, "Yeah, Jude told me he's gonna be on your podcast," and I was like, "How do you know Jude?"
Yeah, she came. I had a speaking engagement, and she came after that.
Yeah, you see, small world, man.
You know, Haitians make it smaller. Small world, and the Haitians make it
Absolutely,
smaller.
man. Absolutely. So it's all about doing right, doing good. So tell me about the Brooklyn Bank.
Okay. The Brooklyn Bank is my baby.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so proud of the work that we're doing there. The Brooklyn Bank is a nonprofit that I started. We are based in a building at 896 DeKalb Avenue in the heart of Bed-Stuy.
Right.
And it is a nonprofit based on financial empowerment to our community.
I love it.
You know,
I love it.
So the whole focus, the whole purpose of the Brooklyn Bank, and the reason I called it the Brooklyn Bank is because the building itself used to be an old bank, but second to that is when you think of bank, what do you think of?
Money.
Not just money, but something of value. You know, whether it's a blood bank, whether it's a food bank, you know. It is a place where things are stored.
I love it.
And what we store at the Brooklyn Bank is information, relationships, you know, and on top of that, all the stuff that we do for the community. You know, I did for the 3 years in a row now. We've done a MLK empowerment thing, financial literacy thing, where we bring out speakers and teach. You know, we've had hundreds of people come out for that. Last year, I had done a talk where I detailed every step. You know, showing everything from my application to my HUD, to the check of how I ended up making like $500,000 on a deal in like 4 months.
Nice.
You know, and teaching people that it's possible, because a lot of times people don't think it's possible.
Right.
You know, like we do a lot of things in the community as part of of our initiatives, whether it's giving toys out at Christmas time, turkeys out at Thanksgiving, or just information constantly, like financial stuff, financial planning. We also, like 2 weeks ago, we did a tax initiative, a tax clinic, where basically anybody making $50,000 or less could come in and get their taxes done free of charge. You know,
That's cool.
And what that does is that little $150, $200 that they were going to give to H&R Block, that goes towards putting more food in the refrigerator. That goes towards childcare. That goes towards their rent, and therefore it makes their life a little easier. You know, it's very important. It's very important. It was very important to me that that I share the blessing. Like I've been blessed so many times to be able to afford all the things that I have in life, and like this real estate game has been very good to me. You know, so the more you give, the more you get.
Absolutely.
You know, whether you're giving information or you'll get something back all the time.
Right.
You know, Gene has gotten on me that I don't even have a business card. He said he's going to design my very first business card, but
That's a fact. You heard it here.
But I haven't. You know, it's been I've been in this game 20-something years. No business card.
Right.
No
Website?
no website.
No website.
No website. No office. But yet, you know, I'm doing. You know, I'm currently working on $3-4 million deals right now.
Right.
Just right now.
Right.
You know,
Right.
all comes from my reputation, from people passing deals on to me and so forth. But most importantly, like, yes, I'm working on $3-4 million deals right now. But how am I giving back?
Right.
You know, how do I make sure that everybody eats?
Right.
You know, I make sure my team eats. My lawyer, my immediate circle.
Right.
My accountant, you know, all the people who work with me on the daily grind. They all eat too. So when I'm eating, they eating. Also, the community. You know. I love one of the things that I love about the Thanksgiving initiative that I do is actually feeding people. You know, like we literally gave 300 people, not just turkeys, but we gave them juice and shopping bags full of food.
I love that, man.
You know, and it's a beautiful thing, you know, and like I'm not looking for recognition for it. I'm not trying to, you know, like, hey, you know, I'm the greatest, but it keeps my karma game right. You know what I'm saying? So I know that when that day comes, you know, I could look him in the eye and be like, yo, I did my part.
Yo, that's a fact, man. Man, I applaud you, brother. I applaud you, man.
Amazing.
We gotta do something at Brooklyn Bank.
No,
Like,
definitely,
you know?
man. That's incredible.
We were talking about that dinner.
Yeah,
we got to get that.
No,
poppin'.
we have to.
Yes,
We have to.
let's put it on. You know what?
But you know what I think? I was actually thinking of maybe because our 2-year anniversary is coming, right? Thinking about having all. I don't know why I'm saying this on air, but but it's all good.
Yeah.
But having a 2-year, like all 100 people that came on the show, and inviting guests and you know, people who listen to the show, and having it in Brooklyn, maybe at the Brooklyn Bank, like doing something really big and inviting all our guests. You know what I'm saying?
That would be dope.
And I think that's a great way because so many people learn and so many, you know, and then getting the community. My office is down the block, you know, so we could talk about that.
Yeah.
But leading to that, and because I don't want to take too much time from you, right? So the show's Faith, Grind, Inspire, right? So out of these 3 words, Jude, right? Faith, grind, inspire. Which one of these words, or what do these words mean to you? Because throughout your story, throughout this whole time, usually I ask, you have to pick one, but I actually want to know what each one of those words mean to you.
I'm happy you chose to not limit me to one.
Yeah.
Faith, first of all, when we were talking about the F words, what I was thinking about the two F words that we have to constantly make a decision about. Are you going to lead a life based on fear or a life based on faith, right? And I've chosen to live by faith because, like I said, even when things were at its worst, I knew that it will always get better, you know? And it's like every day when I wake up, I believe that it's going to be the best day of my life. I believe that. Yeah. You know, and that's what gives me the energy, the motivation, and all of that to move forward, which leads me to the second thing, which is grind. You know, there's nothing but hustle out there. You know, like if you don't put in the work, you'll never reap the benefits.
Yeah.
So grinding, you know, do I have time for a quick story?
Go ahead.
A quick joke, actually.
Joke.
So there's this dude. Every night he goes to bed, and he's like, "Yo, God, I need to hit the lottery." Every night. This goes on for years and years. And one night he's on his knees, and then a flash of light, right? Flash of light, the music, the angels, everything. God appears, right? And then he's like, "God, is that you?" He's like, "Yes, my son." And he's like, "God, are you going to help me win the lottery?" And God looks at him like, "Yes, but I need you to buy a ticket." Right? So this dude has been, you know, praying every night to win the lottery, but he hasn't even taken the initiative to buy a lottery ticket. So it's just like, it's like he has the faith, but he's not grinding. He's not doing what he needs to do.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So it's all one and the same. And Inspire, this is back to what I said earlier about giving back. You know, the same way that I look to you and I look to the people before me for the inspiration and the motivation and the ability to believe that it's possible. You know, I too have to turn back and, you know, extend my hand and be like, "Hey, brothers, come with me." You know, like growing up, we always, especially when we're doing well, there's always that term hater out there, right? And I don't believe there's haters out there. I think that there are people who their thoughts are kind of misconstrued, right? And they're not really hating, they just don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like when they see you shining, like you just need to show them like, "Yo, I'm not trying to stunt on you, but I'm trying to inspire you. I'm trying to let you know that, yo, this kid from Brooklyn wearing Wildcats and dirty sneakers, not even, remember Wildcats?"
Yeah, I do.
Exactly, wearing Wildcats and all corny sneakers like that, can grow to be where I am today. So can you.
So can you.
So we all could live, you know. And last thing, I'm gonna end it on this note. I remember working with someone, and I had asked them to help me raise some capital. They asked me how much did I need. I was like, "I need $100 grand." They're like, "Yo, I got you." And I was like, "Where did you get that money from?" And it was just like, "Well, I've been working with you for so many years. You didn't think I was gonna learn how to do it?" Right? So if you don't serve as the inspiration to people, you know what I'm saying? Those same people that you inspire are going to be your allies one day. So you're really helping yourself, and you're helping the community, and you're helping your circle. You're making your circle stronger.
That's true success. Ray Dalio says it in Principles, that he's like, when he was younger, in his early part of his career, it was what he deemed success is him, like him winning, him getting success. Now, success for him is giving everything that he has and letting other people around him become successful, which in turn makes him successful. So, where can people find you?
I am on IG at JJPB.
Yeah.
On Facebook at Jude Bernard. very soon, I'm gonna have a business card from you, so it is gonna have all that information. I'm also, you could also catch me at the Brooklyn Bank.
Yes, go check it out. And follow them too. Brooklyn Bank it has its own Instagram.
Yeah,
Facebook.
it's on Instagram. It's the Brooklyn Bank. At the Brooklyn Bank.
Yeah.
Spelled out the way it sounds. Also, very shortly I'll have JudeBernard.com coming up. So.
That's what's up. So, Kobe, any last words?
That's Colbert. Get it right.
Colbert.
Get it.
My bad, man.
Put that comma on his name. Put some respect on that man's name.
Oh, man.
Nah, Jude, thank you so much for coming, dropping those gems, man. It's an honor and pleasure, man. Thank you so much for just pushing the culture, man. There's not many times we get to have, you know, people of your success and be able to just drop these gems on these people. So just thank you for blessing us with your presence, man. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Yes. And being so transparent, man. I love it, man. So we're on that. With that being said, thank you for tuning in to another great episode of Faith Grind Inspired Podcast. We want to thank WABC. We want to thank our producers, Ariel. We want to thank Matt, Brianna, my co-host with Colbert, right? Our guest, Jude Bernard. Listen, every Wednesday, Faith Grind Inspire, tell a friend to tell a friend. We need your support, so continue to share. I checked our YouTube numbers, which was amazing. I was about to tear when I saw how many shares we had. It was like over 600 shares last month. So thank you. We're growing. So continue to support. You know, we need you. All right, peace. Faith Grind Inspire. Keep going no matter what.